And tomorrow, third session, again, electricity, it will be ETO Sudhakaran, and first, second, and fourth I'll be taking. And once I'll send you a revised one on tomorrow or tonight. Okay. So that will be the lectures today and tomorrow. And let us start now. So we in the this chapter, starting and reversing, we have very little remaining. That is the alarm and stoppage for the four-stroke engine. What we have, overspeed engine, alarm and shutdown will be having, and low oil pressure. One will be alarm and one will be shutdown. And when it is shut down together, it will give you an alarm too. So it will be independent alarm and shutdown. It means if you see there are two pressure switch. So one is for the alarm, one is for the shutdown, and it has got two different setting. So the shutdown setting is lower than the alarm setting, and when the shutdown comes, that time the alarm also will come together. Fresh water, cooling water temperature high, that is also first alarm and then shutdown. And decrease of turbocharger low oil pressure if it is the external supply of oil for the turbocharger. You can have a turbocharger that is self-contained. In that case, the pressure alarm is not there. In that case, when it is external supply, that pressure alarm will be there. And if it is supplied by the system, then system alarm is there, it can be incorporated. Exhaust temperature, engine, it means the exhaust temperature has to be, there has to be an alarm. And increased exhaust temperature, turbocharger inlet and outlet for the four-stroke engine, there will be alarm. And oil leakage from high pressure fuel oil pipe, there will be an alarm. And decrease in oil, lubricating oil level, that is the sump tank level, there will be an alarm. So this is the safeties we do have for the four-stroke engine. And like this chapter, this is the end, but let us see something, this slowdown and shutdown, which we have, and this is the setting for the slowdown and the shutdown for the two-stroke engine. So this is one of the example for one of the engine, freshwater. We have 95 degrees the slowdown, and then lube oil temperature, it is the shutdown is pressure is 0.08 MPa, and that is 0.8 bar around. And alarm is less than that, it means the lower alarm is means the higher than that, this is less than that, the shutdown. And slowdown, you can see this is 0.1 and 0.12. This is the usually all the engine, it's more or less same. And piston cooling oil also, this is the setting. Turbocharger oil, this is external supply, so there is alarm. Scavenge air manifold, that is this is the minimum and maximum and the minimum, that is for the our, this has to be, it cannot go more than that, it cannot go less than that, this range has to be maintained. So that is the scavenge air. And receiver at 120 degrees centigrade, it will be, that is means it indicating that fire, scavenge fire. Starting air, this is the setting for alarm. And control air pressure, also there is an alarm. Normal is 0.6 to 0.7 and 0.55. Safety air, same, because they come from the same, but it is different purpose. That is the reason it is name is given safety air. And the spring air is also from same source, that is the control air. And fuel oil, that viscosity we maintain 10 to 15, and This is the pressure we do maintain, and low pressure alarm will be there. And exhaust gas inlet, it is this the setting, that is normal is 320 to 390, and high and deviation, as we know there is a deviation alarm which is comparing the average 50 plus minus or less, there is an deviation alarm. Exhaust gas inlet temperature 450, outlet temperature 340, and this inlet temperature to the turbocharger is always higher than this the exhaust gas outlet temperature from the engine. I think one of the chapter during that I asked this question, and I told you, I had explained also that is because of the expansion, but it is not doing any work, so that the velocity increases and the temperature increases. And thrust wiring is 80 is the slowdown. And engine revolution, this is particular engine, that is 76 is the, it means maximum is 76 for this particular example. In that case, it is 82 is the shutdown, that is the overspeed. Overspeed is around 15 to around 10 to 15% more. So these are the temperature and the pressures. This is also, these are the settings. So this is the chapter, end of this chapter. Any question on this chapter? Now there is some question like the B&W, how the distributor cam actually changes the position distributor. The B&W distributor, it changes the position like we have one of the system like this. So you have the cam, and this camshaft, that is the small camshaft for the our for the distributor, and it has got two separate cam, ahead and astern cam. So this is the astern, this is the ahead cam, and it has got two sets of valves. For an example, this is one valve and this is another valve. So this valve is for our astern, this is for the ahead. So when ahead air comes, so when the ahead air is coming, then what it does, it goes to top also. It pushes the spool to be in contact with your cam, and in normal condition this does not touch the cam. There is no contact between the cam and the your follower, and this is rotating because this is turning with the engine is turning, this is also turning, but there is no contact, so wear and tear is not there. Otherwise unnecessary there will be wear and tear. There can be contact, and since this air is not there, it's not going to inject air, but to prevent the wear and tear, so it gets lifted by the spring force. What we have seen for the soldier, it is same. And now what will happen, this is in contact, so this the pilot air will go and operate your air starting valve, cylinder air starting valve, and that time this will get vented out. This will get vented out when it is ahead, and exactly it will happen the same thing when this pressure is coming in this direction. That time this will go to the exhaust valve, and not exhaust valve, it is the cylinder air starting valve, and this will get vented out. The other one will get vented out, and that time also this one will push, the one line will come here, it will push and make a contact with the follower and the cam. Then astern cam will be in operation and astern valve will be in operation. So what does here? Here we have a shuttle valve. So this is going to the cylinder air-starting valve, and this is coming from one side is coming from the this, and one side is this. So what is happening? This shuttle valve, which is a ball valve. So when this air is coming from this side, the Astern air, that time it moves like this, and then it operates. That time this gets vented out, so it operates in the Astern direction. This engine will rotate. Now this cam is like we have seen the camshaft, the how it shifted for the four-stroke engine, even the Mitsubishi engine, they shift the camshaft. So the cam is shifted. Axially, they'll move. Similarly, we can move axially. Side by side, two cam is there, and there is a ramp, so that when it moves, and it takes the position of the ahead and astern. So accordingly, which cam will be in operation. It means this cam has camshaft, and the cam has to actually move. This is the way BMW, one of the way BMW uses this. There is another way which is actually they also use the radially, they place the valve. This is the shaft, and this is there is a cam onto this, and radially we have suppose 6 unit, there will be 6 valve. They also use like BMW, Sulzar, what we have seen, they use also like this, and there will be shifting of, it means when it is ahead, that time ahead air will go and open the valve. It means open the air-starting cylinder air-starting valve, and when astern direction, astern air will come, and astern air will open the, that is the pilot air for the astern will open the cylinder air-starting valve. This is the latest, this the modern engine of BMW, they uses this for the conventional engine. Intelligent engine, you don't need this because it is controlled by the solenoid valve. So this is the way, both way, the BMW uses the distributor changing the correct position ahead and astern. So this is the end of this chapter. So we'll start the new chapter, that is the scavenging, that is the turbocharger. And yeah, you tell me. You are coming broken.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You tell me.
On the and are not responding.
You are coming broken. Can you text me? I'll reply to that. And this, okay, another thing I wanted to confirm that the World and Elma, I think they have the COVID-19 positive, isn't it? So, Haile Michael, tell them to be in the lecture because the Wi-Fi is provided to them. So they should be in the lecture. Elma is already there. World Day is not there yet. So okay, yeah. Let us see what the UV is asking for. Okay. So what is the question? You right?
Chief, we are present.
Okay, good. And another thing, this in the dormitory Wi-Fi is installed. Aile Michael.
Chief,
Yeah.
13 installed, but one building is not working properly.
Okay, we'll follow it up. One is working, one is not working. Okay,
Yes, yes. I mean, sometimes working, sometimes not working.
okay. And the other building is okay. There is no issue.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. And you write your question.
Chief, this is Sophonius. I have
Yeah, I received your question. When engine is reversed, some unit are not responding. What do you mean actually? You are this is a problem you are talking about? Okay. So suppose the engine is reversed, but some units are not responding. See, there can be various reasons. Suppose that now tell me which kind of engine are you talking about, BMW or Sulzer? So for an example, it is BMW. BMW, what will happen? It has got individual, BMW has got individual pneumatic cylinder for shifting the cam, and also for the fuel and for the air. Suppose it is the air is not responding. In that case, what will happen? What can go wrong? That this some unit is responding, some is not responding. It means your shifting of cam is okay. There is no problem. Now, for an example, this air is coming here to press it against the spring to make it contact. And there will be individual unit will have individual valve, this one. And suppose it is not making contact because of some, it is jammed, it is not free. Then what will happen? This will not give pilot air to that particular unit. That particular unit will not respond to that. Plus, this pilot air has to get vented out, or it means when that valve is closed, it should get vented out. It has got vented out, but the supply air passage is choked. Then also it can happen because it is not going to open the valve. So it is not responding means it is not, the valve is not functioning at the correct time. So in that case, what will happen? You will be removing this. This is a common line. From here, this is a common line. It means some unit is responding. It means there is no problem. It is not a common problem. It is an individual problem. Individual problem can be because of this pilot valve, or it can be valve itself. Maybe the valve itself is jammed. It is not responding. And we have seen what can be the reason for getting valve jam. So we need to, when it is some means not all. So it's not a common problem. So we'll have to look at into that way. We can see this is, you can, this cam, we can see if there is, once you apply the pressure here, whether it is in contact or not. If it is not in contact, it means it will not function. This no pilot air will go to the your to operate your cylinder air steering valve. These are the probable cause, and if it is this one, maybe this radial there are valves, pilot valves. That particular unit pilot valve is stuck because this also is not in contact in normal condition. When the air is coming for astern or ahead, that time it is pushed and then it is in contact. Suppose that particular unit is not making contact, or the opening and closing air, that passage is choked. Also, it will not operate your function, your the cylinder air steering valve. So this is the way you need to separate what can be the reason. Isolate means you'll have to separate where can be the problem. So accordingly, you'll have to troubleshoot this. Because once this is not coming, this air is not coming, it is a common problem. So in that case, we have the valve from where this control valve from where this air is coming, that is maybe the problem. Another problem, this is the, and then maybe this valve is leaking internally. Then also it can happen. The pilot air, instead of going to the your cylinder air starting valve, it gets leaked out from here. So then also it can, it will not function. Your during the reversing, it will not function your cylinder air starting valve. Is it clear, Yog? Okay, any other question? Then if no question, then we go to the next chapter. So the next chapter is the starting and reversing. Sorry, the scavenging and turbochargers. That is the next chapter. So what is scavenging? Now, once the engine is running, we know that the cycle is repeated. So after the power stroke, the exhaust gas goes out from the cylinder, and then again it has to be ready for the next cycle. Once the cycle needs to prepare the next cycle, it means it has to charge with fresh air, and then it means first step that it has to be charged. Now, after the exhaust gas goes out from the cylinder, that is the exhaust, what remains? It remains the exhaust gas inside the cylinder, and that has to be cleaned. It means that has to be removed. Like scavenging, that's the scavenging is. That's why sometimes scavenging is called crowing or the sweeping. It means it's like it cleans the exhaust gas, remaining exhaust gas in the cylinder after the cycle. It means end of the cycle. That has to be removed, and then the scavenge, that fresh air has to be charged, so that it means that first step of the next cycle, it has to be charged. Then only the oil can be injected, fuel oil, and the combustion takes place. So this removal of the exhaust gas in the cylinder after combustion, that, and subsequently the air has to be charged for the combustion. So now the scavenging is a very important part of the cycle, because if you don't have the proper scavenging or the efficient scavenging, then what will happen? There will be exhaust gas inside the cylinder, and the fresh air will be less. It means the mass, some mass will be occupied, some space will be occupied by this exhaust gas, which is not going to support your combustion. Also, the exhaust temperature is much higher than your scavenge temperature, that is scavenge air temperature. Your cylinder air temperature will be high because of that. Because if your scavenging is mixing, suppose you have no mixing, it is only the scavenge air, which is around 40, 42 or 45 degrees centigrade, whereas the exhaust is around 350 for an example. So if exhaust remains in the cylinder, so the temperature of the scavenge temperature will increase. So what will happen subsequently? Your exhaust temperature, cylinder exhaust temperature also will increase. Your component, all component temperature will also increase. So that is the reason, and plus you will be having the incomplete combustion. You cannot have complete combustion because some of the space will be occupied by the exhaust. It means your mass of air will be less, which we need for the combustion. So that is the reason efficient scavenging is very, very important. It means it has to be, the mixing should be as minimum as possible. So all the exhaust should go out from the cylinder. But practically it will not be, you cannot have 100%. There will be some, but we can deal with that. We can do something so that we can achieve very, very minimum contamination or the mixing. So also this air, scavenge air, what it does, because it is having a lower temperature, that is 40 to 45 degrees centigrade, it also does the cooling. Not only it is required for our combustion, as well as it does the cooling, because once it is entered into the cylinder, you have the bottom, it will be piston crown, and then side will be cylinder, and the top side will be cylinder head and the valves. So all will cool down because of this temperature, because exhaust temperature, when after the expansion and the exhaust, the temperature inside the cylinder is very, very high. So this will do the cooling also. So this is another work it does. Actually, it helps us keeping the component at low temp within the design temperature. Otherwise, what will happen? The temperature increases, the material will fail. Actually, the component will fail because all the material has to be kept at certain temperature as per the design and what material can withstand. Four-stroke engine, it's easier because in four-stroke engine, how you have four-stroke. It means one complete stroke we are using for the exhaust, one complete stroke we are using for the scavenging. So that is the advantage. It means when the exhaust, when we are doing the exhaust is removing from the cylinder, it's like a pumping effect. It's pushing by the piston. So piston is moving upward direction and your exhaust valve is open and it is pushing out all the exhaust through the exhaust valve. And when it is inlet, that is the inlet is open when downward stroke, when after the exhaust is down, piston it reaches to TDC and then it's moving downwards to VDC. That time your inlet is open and you charge your cylinder. But there will be, when there is a clearance volume which will remain, when it is at TDC, it will remain, the exhaust gas will remain there. So in that case, when the exhaust gases remain there, that has to be removed. How it is removed? Because of the overlapping. It means if you see the exhaust valve will open end of the expansion of the power stroke, and then it is moving upward from VDC to TDC and it expels the exhaust gases. But when it is reaching to TDC, before that 15 degree around, before that the inlet is open. Once the inlet is open, exhaust is still open, and then because of that whenever the inlet is open, your scavenge pressure, it means your inside cylinder pressure, exhaust pressure should be less than the inlet pressure, scavenge air pressure. Otherwise, what will happen? Exhaust, it is designed such a way, the inlet will open. The moment inlet is open, it means already the cylinder pressure and the exhaust pressure is less than your inlet pressure. So the inlet will push out this remaining exhaust through the exhaust valve, because exhaust valve is still open. So what it does, so 15 degree around, it's open the inlet valve before TDC, and at that moment your exhaust pressure is less than your inlet pressure. So the inlet will flow through the cylinder towards your exhaust. So the remaining exhaust will push out through the exhaust. And the exhaust valve will remain still open when it is reaching to the TDC, and after TDC also exhaust valve will remain open till around 15-20 degree after TDC. Now this is called overlapping, because exhaust and inlet valve both are open together. So the remaining exhaust, it ensured that all the exhaust has been removed from the cylinder for the next cycle. So the 4-stroke engine, very, very easy. And it is getting to do this, it has got much long, means time is compared to the 2-stroke engine much more. So the 4-stroke engine is always have the better scavenging than the 2-stroke engine. 2-stroke engine is the difficulties, 4-stroke engine very, very simple, and it is efficiently it can be done. Keeping this overlapping around 35 degree, if you open the inlet 15 degree before TDC and close the exhaust after TDC 20 degree, suppose after TDC, so around 35 degree, you give the overlap, all the exhaust will go out from the cylinder. So the problem with the remaining mixing and the high temperature, all this can be avoided. So turbocharger has to, in our engine, all are turbocharged engine, so that we use the main engine or the generator auxiliary engine, all are turbocharged engine. That is called supercharging. So the turbocharger, which is turbocharging can be, means the supercharging can be done by various means, but we use turbocharger because that is the best and efficient way we can do it, because we are not consuming any energy to drive the turbocharger. It is a heat recovery system. So it supplies always, it has to be supply pressure greater than the exhaust manifold, so that the flow should be from the air side to the exhaust side. And once it is flowing, there will be, it means cylinder will be cooled down, because as we have seen that it is 40 to 45 degrees centigrade, and it is much lower than the exhaust temperature. And 4-stroke engine, as we have seen, that it is very efficient because it can be done very easily. And this, even the high-speed 4-stroke engine also, it is very efficiently we can do it. And this is the diagram. This is the exhaust. During the exhaust, it's the piston is moving upward direction and exhaust is coming out from the exhaust valve. And as we have seen that overlapping is 15 degree before TDC, and the inlet is open, then inlet, from the inlet, the exhaust, the flow will be, and the remaining exhaust will come out. And this will close, exhaust will close after TDC around 15-20 degree, so that overlapping is sufficient. After that, when it is after, suppose after TDC 15-20 degree after TDC, when it is moving downward, then still open your inlet valve, exhaust is shut, and then it is charged completely. That is the aspiration. Now 2-stroke engine, the difficulties in 2-stroke engine, because the time, you have very little time. So air has to, it means air has to sweep out the exhaust. So when, if you see this 2-stroke engine, it means when we have seen in 4-stroke engine, during the overlapping, it can sweep out. Suppose your exhaust valve is shut, after that nothing will go out through the exhaust. and nothing will come out from the inlet. Inlet will supply air to the cylinder because piston is moving down and pressure is keep on dropping, and it will be compensated by the fresh air. So in two-stroke also, it means both scavenge and exhaust has to be open, then only the sweeping can be done. That is, the cleaning can be done. And that is the reason if you see our two-stroke engine valve timing, so exhaust after the expansion stroke, then the exhaust open, and the exhaust valve open or the port open. Now all the modern engine, it is the valve. We don't use port anymore in the marine in our industry. So the exhaust valve open, after that exhaust port open. After that exhaust valve remain open, and then there is an overlapping. That is the exhaust and exhaust valve and the inlet scavenge port both are open, and then first scavenge port closes and then exhaust valve closes. It means we have what is happening in this case. It means your exhaust valve is already open after the expansion stroke. After that, piston is moving down when piston is moving downward direction. And then after that exhaust means once the exhaust valve is open, after that the inlet valve is open, the scavenge port or the inlet port is open, and then it pushed the exhaust through the exhaust valve. Exhaust valve is installed on the top. So from the bottom, the scavenge air, that is the fresh air, will charge, enter into the cylinder, and it push out the exhaust, remaining exhaust from the cylinder. It means it will push out, means it is displace. It will not mix. When the flow will be upward direction, so that it will push out or the displace the exhaust. So if we see this, so this is our cylinder, and we have the inlet port, and suppose the moment inlet port is open, let us draw the piston is here. That means the air will enter, and what will happen? This is the exhaust valve. Exhaust valve is already open. So what will happen? There will be this portion, there will be the high temperature. And here there is a low temperature because it is entering from the bottom and it is moving upward. And there will be some mixing here in between. Here there will be some mixing. You cannot avoid that. And it will push out this complete exhaust. It means it will displace. It will not mix actually, but between the interface, there will be some mixing, which you cannot be avoided. So once it is pushing out, it means all the exhaust will be pushed out through the exhaust valve. It will be like displacing. So that only can be done during the overlapping. Now, this has to be done within very short period of time, because if you increase this timing, your expansion stroke will be reduced, your power will be reduced. So we'll have to now let us see this situation where this cylinder has to be charged without the minimum mixing. It means minimum contamination. It means this area is already contaminated. So how we can overcome that? It means we'll have to remove this also. If we can remove this, even if we lose some air, suppose up to this we remove, it means this air will, scavenge air will, the charge air will enter and push out up to this air, this volume. So once this volume is moving out from the cylinder, it means cylinder is filled with the fresh air. There is no contamination. It means we need to do as minimum as possible the contamination. So how we can overcome this? This we can overcome. Suppose we have a certain quantity as required by the engine, the air mass. Suppose this is the mass is required for the to charge the cylinder. Now, if this is the loss, some losses we have, that is suppose the m plus x. X is the loss. It means this is the loss. Now, if we supply air, this, so this plus x, then remaining cylinder air mass can be m or not, which is required for the combustion. Is it clear how we overcome this kind of a situation? Because see, when the engine was designed, first thing we have noticed that we need to have good scavenging. Otherwise, we cannot run the engine efficiently. So the designer looked into that, how we can increase the scavenging efficiency, because mass of air is required to burn the fuel. Otherwise, you will have the incomplete combustion. So what they did actually, they developed first scavenging. That time this was not thought. So they started thinking how to reduce the contamination. That is the reason we have that different type of scavenging we have, that is inflow, cross flow, and the loop system. So this was developed because of that, because of the scavenging efficiency to increase. But when inflow was designed, then it is found that then it started that how to reduce the contamination. And the turbocharging, actually the supercharging came after. After that, designer started thinking the supercharging, how it can be done. Now this kind of a situation where there is a layer of contamination mixing which can be removed, even you cannot design an engine exactly this much volume will be coming out. It means you can design, but in practice there will be many other factors. We need to keep some allowance. So this much mass also will come out together with that. There is mixing mass and this mass, and that is the loss, and that we can add in the supply. Now how we can do this? It means our exhaust valve is kept open. It means it will be closing after the inlet valve is closed. You have already supplied m plus x. So x will go out from the exhaust, does not matter, because m will remain, and that is sufficient for our combustion. So that is the way we can overcome this kind of a situation, and we can have a very high efficient scavenging for the two-stroke engine also. So here you can see that it's what is it written, that is some mixing will be there. We have seen that mixing, and we'll have to keep that minimum, and you can improve the volume of air, excess volume of air you supply, and that can be removed from the cylinder. Though you are losing some air, does not matter, because your exhaust valve is closed after the inlet port, so definitely you will be losing some, and that is compensated by this excess air, whatever is the loss. So another thing, this here also the inlet, when the air is entering into the cylinder, that pressure has to be higher than your exhaust manifold pressure, P exhaust. Then only the flow will be in this direction. And this is, it means your air pressure has to be at the higher pressure than your exhaust pressure. And our engine is turbocharged engine, and it is the supercharged engine, or one of the, so we use the turbocharging for the supercharging. So this is driven by the exhaust gas turbine, that turbocharger. So we basically, when it is exhaust is coming out from the cylinder, it still having a high enthalpy, it means high heat energy, that we do utilize for the driving the turbocharger, so that we don't consuming, we're not consuming any extra energy, whereas we are recovering some energy, and that increases our engine efficiency. Overall engine efficiency increases. Our engine, marine engine, is highly efficient engine. That is around 50% efficiency we can achieve. Around 50% is very high efficient engine we have. And once, what actually we are doing by increasing the pressure by the turbocharger, we are increasing the mass, because our volume is same, pressure is increasing. Once it is designed and it is made, it means just 1 sec. Hello. Yeah, good morning. Fine. I'm in the lecture. 10 o'clock we talk? Or, yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, so what we do, as per the design, our volume is fixed. Once the volume is fixed and pressure is increased, it means mass is increased. And after that, the turbocharger increases the pressure. At the same time, once the pressure is increased, temperature also will increase. That we know the gas law. Now the temperature is increased. Increased temperature means the density of the air is reduced as the temperature increases. So after that, what we do, we pass this air through the cooler. Once it passes through the cooler, what is happening? The temperature is reducing. Once the temperature is reducing, what is happening? The density of air is increasing. So once the density of air is increasing, that is the mass is increasing, once it is entering into the cylinder, the cooling capacity of the air is increased, because the M is increased. Once M is increased, that is the density is increased, the cooling capacity, which is cooling the piston crown, liner, valves, all will be, cooling capacity will be increased. It means it will lower the temperature efficiently because mass is more. Now, so this is the way we do the turbocharge, means the scavenging for two-stroke engine. So there, for the supply of air, we used to use, but those are obsolete, we don't use. One of it we do use still. To increase the temperature, when there is the pressure, we have seen the pressure has to be increased. This is PA. So to increase the pressure, it means we need to have something, because our atmospheric pressure is same, that is the 1 bar. But we need to increase the pressure, so we need to either use the reciprocating, we used to have the reciprocating pump. It is, we used to call it reciprocating pump. It's like, it's a compressor only. So to supply, and it can be engine driven. So our PA increases. Rotary valves also, it means rotary compressor we used to use, which is driven by the engine. But this you are consuming, by doing so, you are consuming some energy from the engine. It means your overall efficiency you are increasing, as well as you are actually some energy you are reducing also. It means overall maybe you are increasing, but not that high. Whereas for turbocharging, we are not consuming any energy, whereas we are recovering energy. So the efficiency is very high. Third one, we steal some of the engine we do use. What is that? The compression from the underside of the piston when there is a downward stroke. What is happening? So this is the scavenge port. So the piston, when it is moving downward, that time what will happen? The piston is moving, suppose downward. That time, the under piston area, that volume will get compressed. Because suppose you have the scavenge air here. Because you'll be having the scavenge air in the under piston area. Once the piston is moving downward, what will happen? This will get compressed. And there are valves. Here, there will be valves. One will be suction, another will be this bottom one will be suction and the top one will be. So this will be delivery and this will be suction. So what will happen when it is moving up? This will open because the pressure will drop here. The pressure, this is the supplied pressure, and then this space will be occupied, this pressure. But when it is moving down, this pressure will increase, this will close. And the air then flow like this. So the air can be supplied at higher pressure than this, because this P, suppose this is P1 and this is P2, P2 will be higher than P1. So it means you are supplying the higher mass. So this is the one of the arrangement we can have, and still actually it is some of the engine, not many engine, but some of the engine they do use. Even BMW has got this kind of arrangement. So they use the under piston area pressure, though this is supplied by your turbocharger. It is at higher pressure. Again, it is been compressed. Then this turbocharger pressure comes to the cooler and then comes to this space under piston area. And when it is moving downward, it will go to the cylinder, and then this pressure will be higher than this. So you are supplying more mass into the cylinder. So this is another way. But since we are doing the compression by the piston, some energy is being consumed by the engine. So some engine you will find this kind of arrangement also. So the problem with this all arrangement, it means you have these valves, even this is still in use, but you have the valves, non-return valves, which needs maintenance. Then some energy is absorbed. That is actually loss of energy or consume. You should not say loss, because it is you are gaining something out of it. So it is a consumption. So the maintenance work also has to be increased, and powered by the engine also it means you need consume some power. So in all the cases, if you see the reciprocating pump, rotary blower, or this arrangement. So the best is the turbocharger. If we can increase the turbocharger efficiency, so that we can have the good efficient scavenging, and this also the quantity will be limited. It means when you are supplying by these three methods, the quantity also is limited. So that it means you have a limitation of how much mass you are sending. Your fuel injection, there is a relation between the mass of air supplied into the cylinder and the fuel quantity you are injecting, because your intention is to burn the fuel. If it does not burn, then it is incomplete combustion. So in that case, in this case, what will happen? The mass is less because this arrangement is such, so we have a limitation to the mass, so you have limitation to the fuel injection quantity. It means your power is limited. So whereas if we use this turbocharger, then we can have more air and we can have more fuel to be injected and which can be burned. So that is the most efficient way we can supply air by the or the supercharge the engine by the turbocharging. So this is as we use only the uniflow scavenging now. So how the uniflow scavenging is done for the slow speed engine. So air is always entering from the circumferential port at the bottom. That means what we have seen here. And this scavenge port are cut in the liner and this port is kept at certain angle. It means if you see, suppose this is the liner and for an example, this is the inner bore and this is the outer circle and we have the scavenge port. So suppose this is the center point. Suppose we put a port like this. So all diagonally if we place. So if this port is parallel to this line, what I had drawn, which we don't do, because we need to put some angle, which is called swirling angle. Or the swirl angle. So that when it is entering from the circumferential port at the bottom of the bottom side of the liner, then it gives a certain angle. Once it gives a certain angle, and this angle is given is around 20 degree, 15 to 20 degree we give, so that when it is entering air, so it will have a swirling effect. Means it will move in this direction. For an example, this is kept like this. Slightly it is at angle. So if we draw at the center and this is the angle I am talking about. This is theta. So it means it is not on the radius. It is kept at 15 to 20 degree angle so that you have a swirling motion. And your exhaust valve is on the top and that is already open. So this pressure is higher than the exhaust manifold pressure. So it will move in upward direction with the rotary motion. It means it will have a swirling effect as well as it will move upward direction. In one direction it will move. And this timing of the closing and the opening of the exhaust port will be same, because exhaust port relative to the piston, the location is same. Whether it is moving upward or downward, it will open and close at same angle. So it is symmetrical timing. That is the reason the two-stroke engine always will have the symmetrical timing. So exhaust port, it means exhaust valve is open already before the inlet port is open. And once it means the inlet port is still shut when the exhaust valve is open, that is called blowdown. It means you are inside the cylinder, pressure is very high that moment, and you have opened the exhaust valve, and the mass will come out from the cylinder to the exhaust manifold because exhaust manifold pressure is less. So that is the blowdown process we'll be having first. So this blow down process, it means the exhaust gas will be released end of the expansion. It means once the exhaust valve is open, it means your expansion is end. And this gases is still carrying, it means it will carry a heat energy, heat energy, which is directed, it means it is going to the turbocharger to drive the turbocharger. So what will happen after that? The cylinder pressure will drop very rapidly because your mass will quickly, when suddenly go out from the your cylinder to the exhaust manifold, and with high velocity it will go out and the pressure will drop inside the cylinder. As well as what is happening, the piston is moving downward. It means the volume is increasing. So pressure will rapidly reduce, blow down, and it will continue the dropping of pressure, and that will be compensated by the scavenge air. Now, when in the blow down process, before it opens the scavenge port, the pressure inside the cylinder should be less than the scavenge air pressure. So it is designed such a way that it will drop rapidly and it will become below scavenge air pressure or the scavenge manifold pressure. So the fresh air can enter into the cylinder because now the pressure of the scavenge air is more than the exhaust manifold. Exhaust manifold pressure now, since the exhaust valve is open, cylinder pressure and the exhaust manifold pressure will be same. So exhaust pressure will be less than the, it means your scavenge air pressure, and it will move in this the upward direction. And that is the universal method we do use for all cylinder that Uniflow system, so that that is the best we can have. The scavenging efficiency is very high. That's why we use this kind of system. All the engine we have for two-stroke engine. And we used to have that loop and cross flow, which we don't use. We'll see, we'll touch it, this loop and cross flow, but will not go into that details. So we have seen this, the diagram what I had drawn here. We have seen that it is throughout from the bottom with the swirling effect, and it will move upward direction because this pressure is higher than this pressure, and it will push out the remaining exhaust gases inside the cylinder. And we have the exhaust valve. Where it is located? It is located at the centrally placed at the cylinder head, and large size of exhaust valve we have, so that it can, suppose the size is less, then what will happen? Your exhaust coming out from you don't have time, because time is very, very limited here in the two-stroke engine. So if the passage is less, it will take more time to come out the exhaust, and it will not be possible within that time to remove. So it means some exhaust will remain in the cylinder, which is undesirable. So this is the centrally we place, and that is the best way to we can achieve the high efficiency of the scavenging. But as we know that the center position location is the best for the fuel valve, but fuel valve for the two-stroke engine, with this arrangement, it means we cannot put it at the center, we'll have to put it at the side. That's why we use more than one fuel valve. We cannot use only one fuel valve. But that is a compromise. But that compromise, from that compromise, we gain from this is more than that. So that's why we do compromise, and we use the more than one fuel valve to compensate that, and we achieve something gain from this which is much higher than that loss. You will be still losing something even if you use the more than one fuel valve, if you use only one fuel valve at the center, but that is much less than this, the gain. So That is the reason all modern slow speed engine we do use that. So this is the, it means this, if you place this, you have the complete combustion, then you have the damage. It means the combustion product which can damage is less because it is complete combustion. And we can use the low quality fuel, heavy fuel, because in marine industry the fuel we do use, which is most inferior fuel we do use for the engine. Onshore we use this fuel but for the boiler, not for the engine. But whereas for the marine industry, our industry, we do use very inferior quality, that is the residual fuel, that is the heavy fuel oil we use. And for burning this, we need to have very good scavenging. So our design is such so that we can burn the heavy fuel oil, that residual fuel oil. Because if we cannot burn this, our consumption, the operating cost will be very, very high. Then shipping will become like non-profitable or loss-making, which we cannot. So otherwise, the cost of transport will be high. So another advantage is this uniflow scavenging. There is no exhaust port, which used to have earlier. If you see this diagram, we'll come to that after. So this is the exhaust port we used to have. This is the scavenge port. So now this exhaust port is not there. Our design of the liner is very, very simple. So we can construct a simple design. Only one port is there. It is placed uniformly, means all at the same level or the lower part of the cylinder. And the another advantage is the long piston skirt is not required. What does it mean? If you have one row of port, that is the exhaust port, one row port is the air inlet port, then what will happen? If this piston, if you see this piston, this is the skirt. So this skirt, why you need the long skirt in this condition? Because when piston is at TDC, still this exhaust port has to be covered by the skirt. Otherwise, what will happen? This exhaust will come to the air side. So that's the reason we need to have a long skirt. If you have a long skirt, then what will happen? There will be chances of touching the liner, the skirt, because if when it is reciprocating, because of the side thrust or the misalignment, slight misalignment, it will touch the liner, and the skirt and the liner will get worn out on the damage first. So this also we can avoid in this arrangement. It means in this arrangement we don't need this long piston skirt. So if you see this diagram, once again, this is the uniflow scavenging. We have the skirt up to here. This is the crown and this is the skirt lower part. So that can be avoided. Another is the cylinder lubrication. It means lubrication also, it's economic, because if you have the larger surface, you need to consume more cylinder lube oil. Cylinder lube oil consumption also is less, because now the skirt, the surface area, if you see skirt and the crown, the side and at the side, which requires the cylinder lubrication is less. So the consumption also is less. Also another advantage is, like this one, if you have exhaust port here close by to the air inlet, what is the air temperature is around 40 to 45 degrees centigrade. What is the exhaust temperature is around, for an example, 350 degrees centigrade. this is the temperature gradient is very high here. So there are chances of thermal crack, which is not there in this arrangement also, because this two is not close by. So this is another advantage you have. Now, as we have seen that the swirling effect, now let us see why we need the swirling effect. The port, that's why we put it at certain angle, that is 20 to 25 degree angle to the radius we keep or the diameter. So that angle gives us a swirling effect. Why we need that actually swirling effect? We don't want to mix the exhaust with the air which is entering into the cylinder. But then what actually it does, the swirling effect? This swirling effect is we need for the air fuel mixing. So when the air is injected, this swirling, due to this swirling effect of the air in fuel is mixed uniformly, because air and fuel, if it does not mix uniformly, then the fuel will not be, there will be incomplete combustion, because throughout the combustion chamber, air fuel ratio will not be maintained. So to have that swirling effect, we have the port, one of the way air we turn, you twist the air when it is moving upward direction as well as it is rotating, and then it has the swirling effect for good mixing of air and fuel. So this is done in two-stroke engine, it is done by the port edges. So we keep it an angle so that, and also another way we do that is the piston crown shape of the piston crown. We have seen in the piston chapter, the shape of the piston crown, we keep different shape so that it gives us the swirling effect. It means, let us see that some is, suppose this is the construction of the crown, and we have seen that this is also a construction of a crown. So what it does when it is moving upward direction, this is our cylinder. So what will happen? This will have higher pressure than this. So this will have a swirling effect. So the air will turn. So swirling effect means air has to take a direction, has to change, so that it will have a better mixing. Here also you can have like this, and this also will have a like this. So this is a crown also, the shape of the crown also we do use for the swirling effect. Now, as I told you, first the designer was thinking how to minimize the contamination. That's why they developed this 1, 2, 3, ABC. So this is the loop. Why it is called loop? Because air is entering from the bottom, that is your exhaust port is always on top of the inlet port. Once it is entering, due to the shape of the port as well as the shape of the crown, it moves in direction, it will move in this direction. So it will be moving in this direction. It will not move in this direction, so that the air will come out from the exhaust. So it will be guided, air once entered, it will be guided by the port as well as the piston crown, so that it will move like this. And once it is moving like this, it will it will not be able to move upward direction because of the cylinder head. Then it will change the direction. It will change the direction to the other side because this side pressure is higher than this side pressure. So then it will move like this and it will make a loop. So if you look at this direction of flow, it looks like a loop. Now, whenever there is a change in direction, and also it is on the same location, It is changing direction. It means it has entered from here and it is coming back to this same location. So there will be chances of mixing, because whenever there is a change in direction, there will be chances of mixing higher. Plus, there are spaces like the corners. These spaces will be remaining the exhaust. So this is the way designer thought that how to minimize that. First they developed this so that it can be minimized the contamination. After that they developed, but still it cannot be highly efficient system. And plus we need to have the long skirt. We have seen that has got in addition to that cylinder oil consumption, as well as the operating difficulties it will be because of the long skirt. So next they developed cross flow. Why it is cross flow? It is entering from one side and then it is not coming back to this side. So it is going to the, it will be guided by the our port as well as the piston crown, so that it will move like this. It means suppose this we want to guide in this direction. One is that the port will be like this, so that it will move like this, as well as the crown, if we can make like this crown, this shape crown on top. So what will happen? This is like this crown. So this will guide it upward direction. So it will guide upward direction, and then it will reach to the underside of the cylinder head. It has to change the direction because this side is high pressure, this side is low pressure. It will make a direction like this and it will come out through the exhaust. And this is a cross flow because this side it is entering and it is coming out from this side. So it is crossing like this. So this also has got disadvantages. It means this corner as well as this side will be, there will be some, it means contamination and changing the direction. Whenever there is a changing of direction, these all spaces will be contaminated because there is a interface here. Now to overcome that, then the designer started thinking how to overcome that. This is also, it's better than this, but it is not also very highly efficient. It means if your scavenging is not efficient, then you can increase the fuel quantity, but is it going to burn? It's not going to burn. So the power you cannot increase unless you have the high efficient scavenging. After that they developed this. So this is the flow direction is shown. So it will enter from the bottom and it will come out from the top, and it will not change any direction. Since it is not changing any direction, and if you see, it is a large valve, exhaust valve we have. It means our cylinder design, cylinder head design is like this. So it will take out all the exhaust and going out to the exhaust manifold. And we have seen that extra air we put because this valve will be kept open after the scavenge port is closed, so that excess air will come out and the remaining air will be sufficient for your for the combustion of the engine. So this is the way development took place. So this one, when it is entering, how it will flow actually, this will flow like this. Because this is the swirling motion, what I have drawn. It means it will have a circular motion, but it is moving upward direction. So this is the way. It means the one which is entering from here, so it will be flowing like this. So that we achieve from the piston crown shape and the port angle. So this is the development for the scavenging, and it is found this is the best scavenging for the two-stroke engine you can have. and all the engine, we have this arrangement. We don't have this, we don't have this. That's why we are not going into details into these two. Now, the designer, what they did, the scavenging. It means the contamination of air is reduced and minimized to close to zero. But the two-stroke engine, there will be some, but we can minimize very close to zero. So now designer was thinking that we have make the engine scavenging efficient. Now we have the purity of air in the cylinder, which can burn complete oil, which has to be injected at that particular load. Now, suppose you want to increase the power of the engine. How you can increase the power of the engine? Yeah, they would tell me.
Yes, Chief. Swirling effect is working from all the ports. The intake air will not be making the hollow movement, so that some combusted air will not be staying in the middle.
Say again. What do you want to say? Are you talking about the Uniflow?
Yes, I'm talking about the Uniflow. If, for example, all the ports, they are taking some air, yes, the swirling air.
Yeah.
So this swirling air will make a hollow, like a hollow, because of the swirling motion. So in the middle of this hollow air, there will be some exhaust gases remaining. It will not be like that?
No, that will not be like that, because it will be filled completely. Though it will only have a circular, that is the swirling motion. Once it is entering from here, so once it is entering from here, so that is the reason the angle is given only 15 to 20. Understood? That I had drawn one diagram earlier. So this is the diagram I had. So this, if you see this, that can happen if the angle is given. It means this is our port. Slight angle is given. Suppose this is it is given in this. So this is the line into enter, and this is the angle. If you see this, it is very 15 to 20 degrees. If you give higher angle, then that can happen. So it will have a swirling motion, but due to this angle, it means it will have a swirling motion, but at the center that you are thinking about the vertex, isn't it? That will not be generated. So it will push out, and plus when actually this, to avoid that, will be having a less angle will be giving. It means this is the diameter at the center line, and this angle will be theta will be 15 to 20 degree. If you increase this angle, then that can happen. So suppose this theta is 70 degree. You can have that problem.
Yes, Chief. Thank you. Clear.
So now after that, the designer has to think about what actually, that's the way it is developed. Now the engine power, suppose you want to increase. How will you increase that engine power? Engine power, we can, suppose we increase the board. Our engine power will increase, because what is the power is the formula, if you see, it is proportional to your plant, PLAN. So that is the power. What is P? P is the mean effective pressure. What is the L? Stroke length. A, cylinder area, bore area. N, which is the RPM. Suppose we increase L, that is the super long stroke we do. We increase L to super long, we increase the power. We don't increase A. If we increase A, that is the bore, engine bore, power will increase. If we increase N, power will increase. Like the 4-stroke engine, N is high, our A is less, L is less. So we can still develop higher power. Now designer has started thinking how to increase the power without making any change of this. LAN. Because 2-stroke engine N is a constraint. You cannot go beyond certain RPM. Because if we are using the crosset, we need to keep the RPM less. And 2-stroke engine RPM is always less. So A, we can increase, but what will happen to the engine size? The engine will be larger. L, we can increase, vertical height will increase. Vertical height, increasing the vertical height is better than the increasing the A. That's why we see super long stroke, super long stroke. It has developed like this. Short stroke it used to be, then long stroke, then super long stroke. LMC is the long stroke, SMC is the super long stroke. So what the designer is done, L has increased. But suppose L has increased, it means L also has got some limit. You cannot increase as much as you want actually, because there is some operational problem. Because there will be cylinder liner lubrication, because L is increased, your mean piston mean speed is reduced. So because your N is same. So we have seen the lubrication you can achieve better because of the higher relative motion. So now designer has started thinking, that time actually L was not there, that the L factor, that super long and long stroke was not there. What they started thinking, how we can increase the power by not doing anything of these 3 factors. If we don't do anything of these 3 factors, what is the remaining factor is PMEP. That is the mean effective pressure. Now, if we can increase the mean effective pressure, we can increase the power. For increasing the mean effective pressure, what we need to do? We need to burn more fuel. It means fuel will have to increase. Once we increase the fuel, we need to increase the air quantity to maintain the correct air fuel ratio. So this increasing the fuel, we have increased the fuel by doing this. It means what we have done actually, we have not increased the fuel, we burned the complete fuel to be injected by having the high efficiency of the scavenging. Now we want to increase further MEP. MEP we have reached to by doing the higher efficiency of the scavenging, we have increased the maximum for complete combustion we achieved, and we have got a MEP value. Now the designer started thinking how we can increase the MEP without, it means will not doing any dimensional change or the RPM, but we want to increase the MEP. That we can do only by injecting the more fuel, but the moment we have injecting the more fuel, our A has to be increased. A has already has certain quantity. Then A can be increased. How? That is the turbocharging. It can be increased by the supercharging. It means your volume of inside the cylinder is same. What we can do, A can means the air can be increased by increasing the pressure, air pressure. And that can be because this volume, we have not, if you don't touch this volume remains same. So what we can do, PA we can increase. Once we increase the PA, that is the supercharging. It means what is supercharging? It means the air is supplied at a pressure above than the atmospheric pressure. That is called supercharging. And this supercharging can be done, we have seen, in different way, but in our engine, it is universally accepted turbocharging. That is the best way we can do. So that is the reason then the turbocharger, supercharging was thinking, and then different way we used to do the supercharging design, and then successfully we did finally, which is accepted globally, and all the engine can be efficiently, and the engine efficiency can be very high with the turbocharging. So then the turbocharging concept came. Then the turbocharging, the high pressure air is supplied to the engine, and that is all modern engine, we do it by the turbocharger. Now we have increased the pressure PA, that is the same volume, the mass of air has increased. Now we can inject F, fuel, so that more fuel can be burned in the same volume of the cylinder. We can now burn more fuel, MEP can be increased higher than this, and the power of the engine can be increased. And then what I was talking about LMC, SMC and all, why the super long stroke? Another advantage of having the super long, it has got certain disadvantage that can be overcome by the lube oil, as I told you, the cylinder lube oil. So that can be overcome by improving the cylinder lube oil system. But what is the another advantage of the super long stroke and the long stroke? We can have the time, it means the fuel oil, it means your piston mean speed is reduced, the fuel oil burning time, combustion time we can increase. So once the combustion time is increased, it means we can have more time for the combustion, and we can burn inferior quality of fuel. As the fuel quality is inferior, you need more time to burn. So that can be achieved. That's why super long and the long stroke and the super long stroke are very, very popular in our industry. So now let's see the turbocharger. So all our engine is turbocharged engine, so that the pressure which is supplied is always more than the atmospheric air. So that gives us the scavenging also effective, as well as we can increase the fuel quantity to be injected to increase the power. Both it helps. So this pressure is not much. If you see 1.5 to 2 bar, but its effectiveness is very, very high. So mass is increased substantially because large volume is entered into the cylinder. So more fuel we can burn. So the more power we can get from the same dimension. So this, as we have seen, that it can be done in different way, but the exhaust gas turbocharger is the most economic way. That's why we use this type of turbocharging. That is the supercharging. We do it by the turbocharger. So turbocharger, if you see the construction, it means what we have a shaft, we have a turbine disc, and another side you have a compressor, that is impeller, and then this is a centrifugal compressor, It means you'll be having a volute casing. And the turbocharger shaft, it has to be supported by the bearing. So there will be bearing. Also, this bearing should be radial as well as axial, because the turbocharger shaft should be restricted to the axial movement. And the construction, there are various construction. We'll see different construction also for the turbocharger. It's not that this is the only construction we have. In this construction of the turbocharger, where is the bearing? You can see. Can you means where the bearing is located? Because the shaft, it has to be, rotor has to be supported by the bearing. So this is one of the type of turbocharger. It's not the whole type of turbocharger, but in this particular turbocharger, where is the bearing located? Anybody wants to answer? Okay, let us see. Here, the bearing is here. In between the impeller and the turbine disc. So some turbocharger you will see, like the Mitsubishi MHI turbocharger, they use this kind of arrangement. And whereas if you see the ABB turbocharger, they might not be using this. They use the bearing at the end of the shaft. But what is the advantage of this type of arrangement? This type of arrangement, one of the advantages is, can you reduce the length of the shaft? We can reduce the length of the shaft. If you see here the shaft end here. If you have the bearing here, it means you'll have to extend the shaft, both sides. It means you'll be having a bearing here, for an example. So the length of the shaft will be increased. You can have shorter length in this case. So now tell me any question till now, what has been taught to you? Any question or any doubt? Okay, then let us complete this slide, but this construction will go in details. So it means the turbocharger, what will have, if you see, this is the gas side and this is the air side. So the gas will enter here. In this case, the gas is entering like this. But it's not necessary that the gas will enter like this. This is, as I told you, this is one of the turbocharger, and then gas is coming out like this. Now this is the turbine blades, turbine disc, this is the gas side, and it is mounted on the same shaft. Previously, actually, it can have different shaft, but mostly it will be having the same shaft, where one side will be having the turbine disc and another side will be having the impeller. And this turbine disc used to be before separate, but now it is not separate. It is integral part of the shaft. It means you have the shaft, and this shaft will be having the turbine disc. It means the turbine disc will be, for an example, this is the turbine disc. So there is a power cuts. So this is the turbine disc, which can be an integral part. It means this is the same shaft. We can have a turbine or disc. It can be on the same shaft. It is not welded actually. It is the same. It will be like this.